You think you've seen Chestbursters before? You think John Hurt's dinner table collapse in Alien can't ever be topped? Well, think again, because Alien Earth Episode 7 just rewrote the rules, and in doing so, it might have delivered the most gut-punching, stomach-turning, and yes, heartbreaking chestburster scene in the entire franchise. But here's the thing, it's not just the gore, not just the blood spraying across the beach sand, not even the sheer brutality of watching Arthur, the one man who tried to protect the hybrids, get ripped open from the inside. No. What makes this scene linger, what makes it burn into your memory like acid through steel, is who it happens to and the twisted emotional setup behind it. Let me ask you something, have you ever trusted someone so deeply only to realize in that split second, before it's too late, that the truth was being kept from you? That's Arthur in this moment, dragged by Slightly and Smee, promised safety, promised survival, and then betrayed by biology itself. The betrayal doesn't come from his companions though, they're desperate, scared children in synthetic bodies. The betrayal comes from the universe, from inevitability, from the horror that once a facehugger takes hold, destiny is already written. And destiny writes in blood. Director Dana Gonzalez knew this scene had to be iconic, or else it would vanish under the shadow of Ridley Scott's original. So what did he do? He stripped it back to basics. Animatronics, practical effects, gushing blood you could almost smell, a puppet chestburster tearing its way out. No CGI gloss to dull the edge, this was raw, physical, tactile horror, and David Rysdale playing Arthur lived it. He wasn't just acting around effects, he was strapped into them, he was soaked in them. But here's where the real secret lies, this wasn't just spectacle. This was character. Arthur starts the show as a scientist, cold, logical, calculating. Children's minds in synthetic bodies are just experiments to him. But by episode 7, he's become a father figure. His ethics as a scientist collapse under the weight of his emotions. He loves these children, he protects them. And when he dies, torn apart before their eyes, it doesn't just break him, it breaks them. And that's the forbidden knowledge of Alien Earth. This show isn't about monsters hunting humans. It's about humans becoming monsters, children becoming soldiers, and protectors being sacrificed in the name of survival. The chestburster isn't just a creature, it's a curse. So let me ask you again, was this the most devastating death in the Alien franchise? Or was it something more? Something that finally revealed what this series has been hiding all along. That the true horror of Alien Earth isn't the xenomorphs, it's what the fight against them turns us into. Think about it. Arthur's chestburster moment could have been just another checklist, kill. Every alien property eventually gives us the ritual, the facehugger, the embryo, the explosion of life from death. But here, in Alien Earth, it wasn't ritual, it was revelation. And here's the part most people are missing. This scene was seeded from the very first episode. Go back and rewatch. The camera lingers on Arthur's hesitation with the hybrids, on his uneasy fascination with their fragility. He tells them survival is data. He treats them like objects. And yet, quietly, the writers lace in these small, almost invisible moments, his hands trembling when Wendy coughs, his eyes darting toward Kirsch when danger approaches. He doesn't say it outright, but the audience sees it before he does. He cares, which is why episode 7 feels so cruel. Because Arthur doesn't die as the man he was in episode 1, cold, detached, clinical. He dies as the man he was becoming, human, fatherly, protective. And what happens? His body betrays him, his chest is torn apart, his final gift to the children, not wisdom or strength, but trauma. And this is where Alien Earth breaks away from the rest of the franchise. In Ridley Scott's Alien, Kane's death shocks the crew, but they move on. In Cameron's Aliens, chestbursters are war casualties. But in Alien Earth, Arthur's death is intimate. The camera doesn't cut away, it holds on the children's faces. It holds on Wendy's trembling hands. It forces us to witness their innocence cracking in real time. And yet, here's the forbidden knowledge hidden beneath the gore. Arthur's death wasn't just written for shock value, it was written as a turning point. This moment isn't about a monster exploding from a man's chest. It's about the hybrids realizing, once and for all, that there is no sanctuary, no safe adults left to shield them. From this point forward, they are alone. The production itself leaned into that philosophy. David Rysdale was only told partial details of how violent the scene would be. The practical effects team kept the final chest burst reveal from him until the take. What you see on his face, the panic, the desperate screams, it isn't rehearsed, it's raw. And the children's reactions. They were filmed first, before the full prosthetics were revealed, so the fear you see in their eyes is genuine. This wasn't just another chestburster scene, it was a ritual sacrifice crafted in blood and terror, meant to sever the story into two halves, before Arthur and after Arthur. Because here's the secret, Arthur's death doesn't just break the characters, it breaks the audience. It prepares us for the finale by stripping away the last illusion of safety. If Arthur can't survive, if Arthur can't protect them, then who can? And the answer, maybe no on Arthur's chestburster death, isn't just an ending. It's a fracture. The story before this moment feels almost like survival horror with hope, humanity clutching to life on a fragile thread. But the story after this, it mutates. it becomes something else entirely. Because now, the children aren't just running, they're grieving. And grief changes everything. Wendy, who once looked to Arthur for guidance, is suddenly thrust into a role she never wanted. She's no longer a follower, she's the reluctant leader, and her first act of leadership, to witness the worst trauma imaginable and not fall apart. The show forces her to become strong not because she chooses to, but because the world has chosen her. That's not empowerment, that's cruelty. But isn't that the alien way? Every protagonist in this franchise, from Ripley to Daniels, is forged in fire. Yet what Alien Earth does differently is show us the forging process in real time. We don't meet Wendy after she's already hardened. We watch the hammer strike, we watch the cracks form, and we wonder, will she even survive the shaping? And here's a secret most people won't admit: Arthur's death was necessary. The writers didn't just kill him off for shock value, they killed him off because he was a shield. His presence meant the children could still pretend to be children. His absence forces the hybrids into a reality where they must become monsters just to survive the monsters hunting them. Think about the way the Chestburster scene is shot. The camera lingers not on Arthur's body, but on the children's faces. The blood sprays across their skin, but the focus is their eyes. It's telling us this isn't his story anymore, it's theirs. And this is where the narrative tightens. Because episode 7 is the point of no return. From here on, the dominoes don't just fall, they crash. Every choice the hybrids make, every desperate gamble, every flicker of violence, it all carries the shadow of Arthur's death. But let me ask you this: what if Arthur's death wasn't random? What if the writers are signaling something much bigger? What if his body wasn't just host to a creature, but host to a message? That's the forbidden knowledge hidden in this episode. Arthur's death doesn't just foreshadow the finale, it reprograms the entire franchise. Because if even compassion can't survive in this world, if even the act of caring becomes the death sentence, then maybe the real monsters aren't the Xenomorphs at all. Maybe it's the idea of survival itself, and that's why episode 7 is so devastating. Not because Arthur dies, but because it tells us, without saying it outright, the hybrids are next. So the question I'll leave you with is this: when the finale arrives, will the children still be children? Or will Arthur's death mark the moment they become something else entirely?